What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it a lot. This video is going to be about the games coming to retail the week of June 5th. There is a couple of games coming out this week that I could confirm release dates for. There were a couple that were in the video course that I was kind of iffy about. However, if there is a game that is missing, please comment, let me know. Let's add it to the list in the description at least, and let's just advise everybody about these great new games coming out that yet again have yet to not stop impressing me after all these massive games. I'm always finding something new, always finding something great, and we can only thank our publishers and designers for that. So, quick disclaimer, real quick thing. I am doing the release dates for the US board games. The games coming out to the US, those release dates I'm doing. I'm also things to consider is the global pandemic going on. There is going to be change of shipping dates, and things are going to be shifting, or dates are going to change, and I'll try to make sure to keep you updated at the beginning of the video. Every week or Monday the video is coming out. I'll try to have like an update section if there is any updates. If there is no updates, I'll gladly take that off as well. Awesome. Let's get started right away. Let's get this video going. This might be actually a pretty short video compared to other videos we have had before. So starting off with Sherlock Case Connection by Lucky Duck Games. So this is going to be one of those type of games similar to maybe the crime series, Chronicles of Crime series, detective series, where you're going in and with the theme of Sherlock, discovering a case or solving a mystery. It's a deduction game, a murder mystery puzzle solver game. The game looks interesting. I couldn't really find too much about it online, which I'm really surprised about. By the way, the game actually comes out on June 6th, which is going to be the Monday. The game looks interesting. I've always said this before, but this game can be really difficult for me, so I tend to gravitate away from them usually. However, the new Sherlock theme, if you're a big fan of the show, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't be a big fan also of maybe like a mystery solver or like a like a mystery style game or a deduction game. So this is definitely one to look at. It's coming out June 6th by Lucky Duck Games, Sherlock Case Connection. Coming up next by The Op. The Op is putting out Disney Sorcerer Epic Alliance core set. I should be having some content of this game right before the release date, which is going to be June 7th. So I'll try to release the video the day of or Monday. Try my best. We'll see how it goes. However, there's a couple things I did on Instagram and TikTok, so definitely go check those out if you haven't. Disney's Sorcerer's Arena Epic Alliance core set is going to be an arena battle game, and the Op is trying to make this a game where you can have like a bunch of different fighters and different Disney characters, and there's a bajillion Disney characters, so they can definitely do a lot with this game. But they're going to start releasing expansions. They already have either one out or planning some to be out. It's Waving Tides, I believe, or something about tides. It's a bunch of the water characters, like Moana is going to be in it, and a couple of other characters. The game is a battle game, arena battle game. You start off on two separate sections of the board, and you spawn in your characters. It can be 1v1 or 2v2, team game or 1v1 style game. I'm assuming you probably could do 1v2. You just have the one player has to play 4 different characters, and the other 2 players play 2 each. The game is pretty fun. I won't lie. I can't really compare it to other arena battle games. However, there's a lot of other ones like Unmatched, Super Fantasy Brawl, and those are all pretty good ones and staples. So I think they're coming in the Op is coming in a really with this game. It is a different theme. So and I also think it caters to kids too. It's a pretty easy game. Children can play it. Unmatched, I guess you could as well, but there's a little less to think about in Disney Sorcerer Arena, which makes it such a fun game as well. So the game has a bunch of Disney characters. The game is played in roughly 45 minutes to an hour, which is pretty quick. And the goal is to get 20 victory points, and you do that by occupying a space on the board or knocking out enemy characters. Pretty interesting game. I'm excited to see what else they do with the game. They have, like I said, I'm excited to see what characters they come out with, or maybe even if they go into like modular boards, or not modular boards, but maybe like a different game board or platform, stuff like that. That would be awesome. There is a lot of coverage online as well, so you guys want to go check it out. There's of course a how to play video from Watch It Played. There's the rules are here as well on their website. The game looks interesting. The game is interesting. I have got to play it. They were really nice enough to send me out a copy. I really appreciate that. I recommend to check out the game. However, if you're one of those people who have to have everything, if you have one thing, you have to have all of it before you can play it, or you want to have it all or collect it all, this is definitely going to be a money pit. I mean, if they continue and this game does good, I'm sure it is. I don't see why not. they're going to release a bunch of expansions with a bajillion characters, and it's going to be a lot. So keep that in mind when considering this game. Still a great game. I love the acrylic standees too. They look so nice. I love the card art. It's a pretty cool game so far. Definitely recommend it. Check it out. Coming up next, releasing June 8th, is going to be New York Pizza Delivery. So this is a game that was released on Kickstarter and now it's coming to retail. There's a couple of those games coming out in the video, so this is one of them. It's going to be by Heirloom Games. The game, essentially, you're going around the city of New York collecting ingredients to build out or carry out orders and deliver them to different places. It's very much a pick up and deliver type game / set collection. You're moving, the area of movement, I guess, comes from moving around the board, and here's a picture of that. The board actually looks really cool. I think that looks pretty nice. I like the way that looks. I couldn't figure out really what all these things here were. I'm assuming victory points or trackers. I'm just going to assume victory points. Not entirely sure about that one. However, I just love the way the board looks with like Central Park here, and you got like all different different communities or different sections of New York here as well. Yeah, the game essentially is just going to be a pick up and deliver type game with pizza and ingredients. So you're going to go around, pick up, collect your ingredients, head back, deliver, make your pizza and deliver. This says it plays pretty quick, but I was reading a couple of the comments or reviews, and they say it actually takes around longer than what it says. However, that's nothing new. Most of the games with the times on the board, they never play with that time. It's always like it always plays longer. This is gonna be New York Pizza Delivery, coming out June 8th to retail. Coming up next by Portal Games, releasing on June 9th. It's called Gutenberg. Gutenberg is by Grana, but Portal Games, I got tongue-tied. Portal Games is going to be releasing it to the US market now. So this game has already been out in different parts of the world. However, now it's coming to the US market, which is why we're covering it as well. In Gutenberg, you're essentially owning a print shop, and it's very much an economic game where you're trying to carry out orders, gain the support of your patrons, and develop your shop as well. So far, they're saying it's like from what I'm reading, it's a really highly anticipated Euro game coming out. It looks really cool. The components look really nice. This looks really cool. Let's check this one out, actually. I haven't really got time to look. You have to cover your stuff up. Interesting. So you do have like the person with the most wins in the game is the person who wins. That's like your wealth. I think it's fame, actually. Let me just make sure by checking here. I'm pretty sure it's fame. It says it here somewhere. Let's see. Bidding. There's some bidding involved. Midweight strategy game. Yeah. Trying to build their wealth and fame by developing. Yeah. So it's basically your wealth and your fame. It's both, I'm assuming. Okay. Very awesome. Oh, the game will be won by a printer who boasts the greatest recognition and wealth. Yeah, it's basically fame and wealth. They go hand in hand. I wonder if they're going to have a system. I haven't really got to read the rulebook yet, but I wonder if they're going to have a system where you have to kind of have both either equal, because your lower one will be the one that's really managed. Just because I feel like that kind of stops people from doing only wealth and playing only wealth and not only doing one or the other. You have to kind of have both kind of equal or close to each other, because that's going to matter somehow at the end of the game. There's a couple of other games that have done that before, and I think that adds a good balance. Also, keeping in mind, if you pre-order the game, you probably get some promos. The promos are actually explained at the bottom here. Only in pre-order Yolanda and John's promo characters. 2 additional characters increase the replayability of Gutenberg. So I'm assuming there's a little bit of asymmetry involved as well with each different character. Don't quote me on that one. I'm just definitely this is all due to me as well, where I'm checking these out. I did a little bit of research, of course, beforehand to really explain to you guys what it is. The game looks interesting. I think there's been a lot of influx of games coming out lately that are very they're Euros, of course, but they have very interesting and creative game boards and components. So this is going to be one of them. They say it's one of those highly anticipated games. So definitely want to consider. It's coming out. Gutenberg is by Portal Games, and Grana is coming out June 9th. Another game called B Movies is being released to the North American market on June 10th. So B Movies, it's very similar to style of games like Cards Against Humanities or What Do You Mean? Trust Me, I'm a Superhero. Trust Me, I'm a Doctor. Trust Me, I'm a Superhero. There's a deck of cards, and you get a couple of like a set of 8 cards, and you're trying to basically create a movie and pitch it to everybody who's playing. And they're all going to vote with their yes or no cards to see if it's a good movie they're willing to produce. You're essentially a screenwriter who you're trying to pitch this to producers. That's a really cool theme. So I would actually I like that. That actually sounds like a lot of fun. Definitely might be. It's definitely a card game, and it definitely might be not for everybody. However, I do enjoy those games, but I feel like after you play them so often, they get a little old. Like, you need a bunch of new cards. There's one specific Super Fight. Super Fight, that game was also similar to that, where you have a set of cards and you build a superhero and you argue. They did a really good job of like including a lot of different expansions within the game and make sure that you never got bored with the different expansions. I hope B movies capitalize on like maybe other people's mistakes, other companies' mistakes, and just kind of putting the game out and having it die there. Just because after you go through the cards so often, the game I mean the game's dead. It really just, for me, it just doesn't work anymore, and I don't want to play it anymore. So B movies is going to be that type of game. It's by Colossal Games. Really, I actually might pick this up. I'm really excited about this. I think pitching a script or something like that to producers can be a lot of fun, making a cool movie. I would like that. My imagination would run wild while doing that. So this is definitely my type of game. I'm gonna look into this one. It's called B Movies by Colossal Games. I might be butchering this. Games is releasing Connec Team on June 10th. This game is going to be... So, this is an interesting one. So, it's going to be a game where it's a party game, definitely a party game, and you're connecting, you're getting a bunch of ideas on the board, and your goal is to essentially, with your team, it's a team-based party game, your goal essentially is to create an idea, and you put your fingers together, like so, I guess, and you announce what exactly is the word you're thinking in your head. It's very similar to other games, so I'm not too sure what exactly that's different yet. However, I am kind of interested and curious to see how or where this goes. You basically grab a list of ideas, you put them on the table. The captain puts ideas together for you, and then from there you try to guess a word, like reading the other person's mind. You're connected, right? So you're reading the other person's mind, kind of thing, and you're trying to guess the same exact word from the list of ideas on the table. It sounds like a fun party game. It looks really simple too, which is always great. Like I said, 15-minute play, 3 to 6. Looks like even 8-year-olds can play. I wonder if the ideas are going to be down to a young person level, because sometimes, I mean, usually children or kids don't really have, I guess, I'm not saying they're, I want to say like their mind's a little underdeveloped where they don't have a bunch of ideas or know a lot of things, so putting two and two together with them might be a little tough. However, it looks like an interesting game. It's a small box game. It's a party game. This is going to be Connec Team by QVO Games, releasing on June 10th. Next up is going to be Star Wars Outer Rim Unfinished Business, an expansion. Star Wars Outer Rim is a game. So first things first, I guess. Outer Rim of Star Wars is like the outer rim of the galaxy. So it's kind of like a different place in Star Wars realm where they storytell, and it's a different story where there's not too many of like the other characters that you're used to, like the Jedis and stuff like that. I'm not saying there's probably not Jedis. Someone who is like a Star Wars guru probably know more than I do. That's just my interpretation of that. This is going to be expansions for the original game. In Star Wars Outer Rim, you're essentially a smuggler. You're trying to gain your way to fame, and you gain 10 fame, and the 10 fame is going to be that exactly is going to win you the game, essentially. And you get that by doing bounties, doing jobs. You have to be like the living legend of the Outer Rim. This unfinished business expansion is going to add just more character cards, more places to the board, more different characters, different things to do, more items to the market, more cards. Typical expansion. However, it also looks like Fantasy Flight Games, who published this game, they're not stopping support on this game since it's been awfully successful. I mean, Outer Rim is probably one of the most popular games out there. One of the most popular Star Wars games, I would say. And I think the only one that's close enough to maybe beat it, I would say almost Star Wars Villainous. But there's also Star Wars, the miniature battle game, I forgot what it's called, tabletop game, is also really popular too. But yeah, this is a good one. There's going to be different cards. Looks like there's going to be some event cards as well, or new contact tokens, databank, new ways to play. They're going to add new mechanics as well to the game. It looks like a really well thought out and good expansion. It doesn't look like it's going to add a bunch of junk or things that are necessary. It's going to add some more content for you to play if you are a big fan of the game itself. Some games honestly do really well with expansion. Some people, it's not just the games, right? The publishers do really well with expansions where they add new content to a game. If you played a game 40 times, right, you probably know the cards by now, the strategy. It looks like this expansion might even add some new mechanics and something that changes the game a little bit for the experienced player. That's a good thing to consider. Star Wars Outer Rim Unfinished Business, releasing on June 10th. So our last one for today, it's also releasing June 10th by Gale Force 9 Games. It's called TUSK, The Surviving Ice Age. So TUSK, The Surviving Ice Age, you're essentially in a group of hunters, right? You're trying to successfully gather materials, prepare yourself for the Ice Age coming up. The person with the most points essentially they are the most powerful tribe, and they are going to be the ones who survive the Ice Age. They're the ones who prepared the best. There isn't much about the game so far. However, the board does look really cool. So from my understanding, it's like a worker placement type of game, and you're trying to go around collecting different things on this little center of the board. It looks really simple, which is kind of interesting. I like the player boards as well. They look asymmetrical, but they're not. I don't think they're asymmetrical at all. It's just different tribes and teams. Definitely not. The game looks interesting. I like the little token, especially the mammoth meeple. That looks really cool. Mammoth? I think it's a mammoth. Yes, mammoth meeple looks really interesting. The game itself, it looks like maybe a smaller box game. Not too small, of course. Like a more smaller game. There's a little bit of dice rolling. Apparently, your victory points are the resources as well. You're trying to, like I said, you're trying to hoard supplies and make use of the land's many resources to become the most powerful tribe. And then at the game end, when the snow takes over from the Ice Age, you are the surviving tribe. The tribe with the most food wins. That's kind of what I was trying to get out of there. TUSK, the surviving Ice Age, coming out on June 11th by Gale Force 9. Gale Force 9. That was it. That was all the games that I could find out that I released on retail this week. So let me know if I missed one. Definitely comment in the video after the description, or make a note of it in the next video. Let me know what you thought about the video. Let's comment, like, subscribe, all the fun stuff that we normally mention. Everyone already mentions the videos, the cliches. However, I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is all great, and I'm excited that you're enjoying the video. Yeah, that's really it. Thank you. Have a great one.